good afternoon. Whenever you're listening to this, welcome to the internet's most sophisticated wrestling podcast, discussing the weekly aspects of it all, right here on
The Bald Monkeys Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome back, Big Baby Jimmy.
Here I
Take
am.
two.
I am here. I am here.
Oh man,
I have returned.
He's not
missed
dead.
you.
people.
This is the Big Baby Jimmy show. Not really. Because any of you who have been watching videos, you've never seen this beautiful face before. Well, you've seen these three gentlemen right here. I'm sure their order is different from my order. That
I'm
is
above you.
Christopher. What's that name right there? I don't see a Captain Chuckles. I see a different name.
Oh, crap.
And then
Stupid
Take
shit.
three.
oh God.
God damn it, Chuck.
Technically, he
Not
could
bad.
just put something over that so you never even see it. So
That's true. Here I am. I'm here.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we are. I am back. Big Baby Jimmy has returned. And I'm not alone. No, we have all the people that you've seen other than me for the last 3 weeks. Who's that? That's Christopher,
hello.
the boss,
Hey.
Captain Chuckles. But most importantly, and if I remember this correctly, the only person that's really right, because he knows how to eat an Oreo cookie.
Oh,
Yes, Big Baby Jimmy. Well,
You realize we're tied up. You're
tied up based on wrestlers. Wait a second.
Yeah.
We're losing horribly, but me and Chris Bay are losing horribly bad right now because everybody's voting against us.
That's
So
true.
I don't think it's tied up.
If it makes you feel any better, my wife agrees with y'all. It's single.
Well, wives
Yeah.
of podcasters
They don't count.
really count.
Look,
They don't
I'm
count.
trying to
Gotta
give
be
you a
people-
point. I'm trying to give you
gotta be-
something.
It's got to be
Take
people
what
in
you
the
can
business.
get.
I don't need any of you damn double stuffers trying to feed me fake votes.
Oh, just wait till the
That's
next
how it
time Haley
works.
sees you. She's gonna crotch kick you so bad.
Hey, no.
I want that on video.
Yeah.
Haley, love you to death.
Crotch
But
kick the shit
this
out of
isn't
him.
about you. This is about your husband trying to feed me fake votes.
This is
Ain't gonna happen.
weeks and weeks of pent up aggression between Big Baby Jimmy and the boss.
Well,
I'm gonna
listen,
get her to hit you with a stunner, and then I'm gonna teach her to trash talk in your face.
I don't want
I
to
like
waste
it.
any time because we have to celebrate a moment. There was a moment that happened. A
Moment of bliss. Wait, where's Leper Cross?
This past Monday, there was a moment that happened, and the skies above they opened up, and the gods of wrestling said, "All of you who are getting a little bit frustrated, no more. We are blessing Becky Lynch with a child. Congratulations, Becky Lynch.
Congratulations.
And in the process, taking care of WWE's biggest problem. And that is that, guess what? Becky Lynch is a great wrestler. Nobody here, I think, is going to argue against that. Like, and from a wrestling standpoint, I might.
But
I
say, I'm pretty
definitely
sure
will.
you've done that yourself.
Yeah,
multiple
I
times.
have many times. But
She's
it's
a
the
great
full
persona.
package.
She's
a great persona. She's got the
entertainer.
full package.
Yeah.
But when she announced that she was pregnant and she was going to step away, that is the best thing that could have happened to WWE. The best thing. Because when she's the only thing that gets the uber push all the time to the point where she's beating everybody, even the people you're like, nope, this is the right opponent to finally beat her. And that opponent doesn't even beat her. So, Becky Lynch, congratulations. WWE, you got lucky. You got lucky that Becky and Seth get a little frisky. I don't know. Am I the only one? Am I the only one that's excited about that?
No.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna say it makes sense. Like, I think we've all been kind of like, okay, how do we take the belts off of Becky and not bury her, so that we can move on and figure out what's next and get away from this storyline because it's getting old. So yeah, I 100% agree. This was the best case scenario for everyone involved: the fans, Becky Lynch, and WWE,
and Asuka.
Is it though? Is it? Because I feel like Asuka's going to wrestle a couple matches, do a couple promos, and Vince's going to be like, oh, yeah, I forgot she doesn't speak English, so let's take it off of her.
Dude,
she's won every belt. She's a Grand Slam. She's the first person to win every single belt.
Everything. Not just the belt. Everything.
She is way more interesting on the microphone than half the people who can speak English. Let's be honest.
Bayley hasn't won a Rumble, though. Bayley hasn't won a Rumble.
That being said, is she going to get the Sasha Banks treatment when she starts holding the belt? She's going to go against her first opponent, and she's just going to lose.
No. She didn't get she didn't get that treatment when she was in NXT. She didn't get that treatment when she was the champion of SmackDown. Why would she get it now? Sasha Banks is a whole nother character and a whole nother situation.
Yeah,
very, very much so.
It makes it a little bit interesting. I'll be honest, and I've mentioned this before. I don't watch a whole lot of WWE anymore, so I don't know that I care that much. And quite frankly, I watched Money in the Bank, and it was pretty bad.
It had some funny, entertaining moments to it.
It had some humor, but overall, the wrestling aspect of it was probably a miss for most of the show.
Okay, the aftermath of that, I have to ask, because I didn't watch SmackDown this week. I was going out of town. What's going on with Otis?
It's just he's humping a briefcase. I mean, that's basically what he did Friday. He basically humped the briefcase, and eventually he tagged with Braun, and Braun did by far the worst caterpillar I have ever seen with Otis. And Otis did the tease. People are mocking them on Twitter, like being fake Vince McMahon and saying, I'm going to do this, and you're going to be really surprised when Otis teases a cash in. And it's like they're mocking how obvious and boring the storyline is.
They really need to have him lose it the way Mr. Kennedy did to Edge with Dolph Ziggler.
But even that seems boring. Even that seems predictable.
Well, just do it to somebody. Who else would they do it to? I mean, because they could do it to anybody that's kind of a heel.
Drew McIntyre right away. That would throw everybody in a loop.
I'm actually of the mind that I know a lot of people don't like this idea, but what if you made him use that to cash in on something else? Maybe he cashes in to take on the tag team titles, or maybe he goes after a mid-card title. Do it differently, just because it's so predictable to do exactly what you're saying. Like, yeah, he's going to lose to Dolph, and Dolph's going to take the briefcase from him. You know, that would make all the sense in the world if it was 10 years ago.
Dolph could win the Intercontinental title in this new thing they're doing for the vacant title. And as soon as he wins it.
He's not in the tournament, is he?
Is he not?
I don't think so.
They haven't seen SmackDown, so I don't know who they put into it.
AJ Styles is in the tournament. Yeah, that's right. From Raw, AJ Styles is in the tournament on SmackDown.
Wildcard 2020.
What? COVID-19 wildcard.
I
feel like Ziggler is a perfect fit for it because he's been a multi-time Intercontinental Champion. Him or The Miz.
Well, The Miz and Morrison are still playing this game with the tag team division, which is a hot mess. I'm sorry,
but good Intercontinental Champion too. He was one back in the day a few times.
There's a couple of guys in WWE who have taken advantage of opportunities through this situation that we're going through. One guy in the last 24 hours doesn't work for WWE anymore, Drew Gulick. He, I thought, had the most air time. He was getting really good wrestling matches in. He was working with Daniel Bryan. Everything was happening, and now he's not even in WWE anymore because his contract ran out and he's moving on.
And
so,
his
like,
choice. Yeah.
his choice. And I actually think that some of the cruiserweights in NXT are getting a lot of good time right now. The Kushidas, the Drake Mavericks, the Atlases, those guys are getting a lot of good out of this. But everything else is a hot mess. Like an absolute hot mess. I have to go to AEW. I have to go to Impact. I have to go to NWA to go find more positive that comes out of this no fan taping situation that we've been dealing with.
I have to admit, I've been watching more AEW on Wednesdays than TNA. I mean, TNA, NXT.
I actually did watch some TNA the other day because I was watching Impact and I went back and watched some TNA.
I've been enjoying AEW so much through all this. It's been great. And the stuff they've been doing with Jericho and Matt and Kenny and Guevara, that match was amazing. I loved every bit of it. The train wreck that it was.
Bump that Guevara took off of the golf cart.
The moonsault.
The moonsault to Omega off the top of
the scissor lift?
Yeah.
Jimmy, how scared are you normally, Jimmy, when you're on those scissor lifts? Like when you're trying to fix something up in the rafters?
It's not too bad till it starts to wobble a lot. And then once it's wobbling a lot, you're like, oh, God.
Yeah, when it's
just do a moonsault off of it. Just do a moonsault off of it.
I am a little bit too, I don't want to say too round because I feel like there's wrestlers that could do that are round. Like a Keith Lee could do it.
More like a pear.
Jimmy's got a pear shape.
Perish. And bald. By the way, bald monkeys. Let me say this. There's a reason, like many of us are bald, but for the life of me, you wouldn't know that Chris was bald or Chuck was bald because every single time they're interviewing a wrestler, they got a damn hat on. The hell is that?
It's my safety blanket.
Yeah, I wore it for the interviews, but for the episode we had before our first
interview, Chuck,
with Chris Bay, I didn't have a hat on.
Listen, I'm just giving you shit. Just take the shit.
Listen. Fine.
Just take it.
Just take the shit.
That's the name of the episode. Just take the shit.
No, that's not the name of the episode. That's not the name of the episode.
We finally got a little bit of traction and followers. We probably should have gone to that right
lose
away.
It all. I mean,
welcome back, Big Baby Jimmy. Just take the shit.
Just take it. I'm just feeding it to you.
But I mean, I personally have been enjoying AEW probably more than the WWE stuff that's been going on. It was good to see that, NWA came back with Super Power. Yeah. That was a good episode. I mean, AEW has, I think, in my opinion, like really knocked it out of the park during this whole COVID apocalypse thing going on.
Minus maybe one really bad week. There was at least one really bad week in there.
But as a whole, I mean, the actual Wednesday Night Dynamite show was good this past week. AEW Dark was awesome.
Stacked.
And AEW Dark, which is going to be in 2 days from now when we're taping, is stacked again. I mean, it is going to be. I mean, it could rival what they're doing on SmackDown or Raw. I mean, in actuality, it's a second top show, and it's not even on TV yet.
Do they actually do anything on SmackDown?
No, well, no, but they hump briefcases apparently.
I think the most consistent form of wrestling entertainment through this whole thing has been Dark Side of the Ring.
Oh yes.
That's been the most consistent thing.
It's been great.
You're not taking advantage of the WWE network.
And
all the old stuff.
Yeah, but that would be me creating content that's coming out during COVID. It's already out. Well, I mean, I like it. Don't get me wrong. I could go watch
just
ECW
giving you a hard
all day
time.
long.
Giving you a hard time.
Let's stay on Dark Side for a second, because Dark Side deserves all the credit in the world for this season. This season of Dark Side's been epic the whole way through. I don't know that I've not enjoyed every single episode. I feel like I've over enjoyed every episode. It's oversold every episode, even the ones that I thought I really wasn't going to get a kick out of. And it's going to finish this week with the Owen Hart episode that I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it through. Like, I honestly am like dreading that episode and how rough it's going to be.
But can it be harder than the Eddie Guerrero one though?
That one was tough, but
Like
I didn't
yeah.
realize how hard the Eddie Guerrero Benoit one was going to be, because I didn't know the whole story. I think we all know the whole story with Owen, and that's bad enough. And then there's other parts that we're probably going to find out, which might make it even worse.
Yeah.
My thing is I wonder what they're going to show from the pay-per-view, if anything. Like, you know,
Definitely more
Who
of a
knows?
harder sell from WWE to give them the rights to that stuff, I think.
Well,
Unless their WWE is somehow funding this, which wouldn't be hard for them to do.
I don't think they are.
Mm-mm.
With Jericho and honestly with with Owen's widow, she is at a war
That's true.
with WWE
That's true.
still. So
That's why
with
Owen
anything
hasn't
that
been
she's
inducted
involved in, there's no way.
yet.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be worth seeing. If you're not planning on watching it DVR right now, so you can watch it later on, I mean, you should watch it. Again, this is one of our plugs that we get nothing for, but go watch Dark Side of the Ring, because it's been awesome all season. What are we going to do when Dark Side's over this week, when the season finale happens? What's next? The only thing that we got going is WWE is doing the short documentary on The Undertaker, The Last Ride. And I don't know if you guys have caught any of that yet.
I haven't started it yet. I wanted to wait until Dark Side of the Ring was done, but I've heard good stuff about it so far.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know my critique of The Undertaker, and I've been very tired of The Undertaker and saying that I'm just over it. These 2 episodes, the 2 chapters that I've seen, I've watched both of them. I wish they would have aired these months ago, because it shows a completely different side of him. It shows a completely different side of what he had to go through even to show up and have a crappy match.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I feel like I put my foot in my mouth a little bit about The Undertaker. I'm going to just say that right now.
Yeah, I've heard the
like,
stuff they show with him and Triple H really just puts in a whole new light about how he was mentally before those matches.
I regret the things I said about The Undertaker. Go watch those 2 chapters. They're pretty freaking awesome. And I can't wait for the next one to come out. So luckily that's right behind it, but I need more. Jimmy. What else you got for me? Because after Dark Side's over, all I got is The Undertaker one. And besides going and keeping up with Impact and maybe some more NWA content and AEW, I need something else.
Well,
7 days a week. What do we need?
I mean, if you're talking about new content, it's not going to happen. One of the things I've been looking into and I've been doing is I've been revisiting Lucha Underground. And let me tell you something. Lucha Underground is a thing of beauty. It really is. And I think that that's been emphasized with the amount of wrestling that we watch nowadays. When I look at Lucha Underground, each season has its own, concise thing where it's starting and it's all about, building the story for that season and then introducing the way that they introduce characters, the way that they keep storylines going. It is wrestling done right. Now, obviously it wasn't done totally right, or else it would still be going.
Financially wrong. Yeah. But imagine if Lucha was at its peak during this period of time. Lucha Underground would have crushed it right now as content during this. We can't be in front of people. We can't. All the vignettes and the storytelling and the drama and the soap opera part of it.
So, I don't want to get too into it because Lucha is actually a topic I want to visit on this podcast is like extra content, and I want to kind of do retrospective content on it.
This is your tease,
little tease.
It's Jimmy's project.
But the thing that I have to emphasize, and I kind of made the kind of the offhand comment about Oscar earlier, is there is a lot of mainstream wrestling fans that want to hear their wrestlers speak English. And when you have popular Hispanic wrestlers and they're speaking Spanish, like Sexy Star or something like that, just speaking Spanish on the mic, they don't want to read subtitles. They're not into it. And so even though the story could be good, it might not work for them. That's why Japanese wrestling isn't popular in the States. It's popular for guys like us who really, really like wrestling. That's about it.
The whole, like you're saying, the whole language thing is really just, I guess, a U.S. thing, because there's Americans who wrestle all across the world and don't speak these other languages, and it's never an issue. You don't hear that coming from any kind of, Mexican, Latino, any kind of division down there, anything in Japan, anything in the UK. People don't care if you don't speak the language. As long as you know what you're doing, you can tell a good story. The US, we've gotten picky with what we want. We want it a certain way, or we don't want it at all, which is weird that it's that way with wrestling and not with everything else. So
I could care less what Asuka says. I mean, the way that she delivers it on TV, I mean, it is so entertaining to me that I'm like, you could be calling me a bald, red-bearded piece of crap over and over again, and I'd be okay with it because it's funny.
Like, yay, thank you.
Like, yeah.
And she does her little drunk dance with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
Drunk Asuka is the best Asuka that we've gotten. I mean, she's better than the undefeated Asuka. She's better than the tag team Asuka. She's better than the Asuka that lost to Charlotte Flair. Drunk Asuka is the best Asuka.
But you know why though? Because it's a crazy over the top character. And in wrestling that has always worked, but we don't do that enough anymore. We don't have and I'm not saying like you have people that are loud and very active with how they carry themselves and stuff like that, but they don't have like really over the top characters anymore. And Undertaker would be a perfect example of that. The Dead Man.
Who's your favorite over the top character?
Ever? I mean, I don't know. I mean, okay, so I hope this one doesn't lose us listeners, because one of my low key favorite over the top characters is Eugene. But past that, I don't know, man. I mean, I just think when you look at a lot of the wrestlers like on NWA at this point, and you know what? How about a current one? You know who my current favorite over the top character is? It's Moose. It's Moose from Impact. And it's because it's like he has created the most likable, hateable character of all time. Yeah. And this whole like, I'm the best athlete in every single sport. I'm like, oh my God. He's so
You know what?
great.
I hate Moose. I hate Moose. But I
hate him
hate
in a good
Moose.
way?
I hate him. I hate Moose like I hated Corbin when Corbin was first starting to gain momentum as a heel. Like I don't hate him like I hate Lashley. Like I hate Moose because I respect that he is getting heat and he's doing his job as a heel that like is pretending to be the champion because Tessa Blanchard isn't there.
Yeah.
So I get it. But his skill level in the ring sometimes.
Oh, well, skill level, schmill level. I mean,
That's what the over the top character can bring. If their skill's not there, they have the charisma and everything else. Yeah. Who's yours, Christopher?
Favorite over the top character. It had to be that first iteration of Mankind, back in the day, like because he was like he was from like an insane asylum almost, like he was missing hair. He would come out with the crazy mask. He would do the squeal like before he had any kind of valet with Bearer or anything. When he first came in and first got going as Mankind, he seemed so over the top. And to be honest, I knew nothing about Mick Foley at that time. I knew nothing about who he really was. He sold me so much on Mankind that I knew nothing else. I didn't know there was Mick Foley. I knew of Cactus Jack, but I didn't realize it was the same guy. Like I was just like, wow, this is a great over the top character, and I really believe that he's like escaped an insane asylum and he's out here chasing down the Undertaker.
I give you that. Mick Foley in any of his personas was amazing. Cactus Jack is my all-time favorite over the top. It's not who I expected from you. I expected the Hurricane.
I love the Hurricane,
Oh, the
but
Hurricane's
he's
good
not
one.
over the top. He's really a superhero.
No. It is Christopher's dream to interview the Hurricane on this.
That would be
podcast.
wonderful. It'd be a fun conversation with Mr. Helms. But I think, and this is more of a just a point for this podcast. We are trying to give people time that could really use it. You know, we're trying to look at those mid-card guys. We're trying to look at those up-and-comers, those independent wrestlers. I think the last two interviews have showed, you know, we're looking for people that could use the time and are just fun to find out about. You know, if I'm coming into an interview and don't know anything about them, I'm actually excited because I can ask the question, you know, who are you? What did you start? What made you love wrestling? Because what do we love talking about on this podcast? We love talking about what made us love wrestling. So to find out connections where, you know, guys grew up loving Edge and Orton, you know, girls grew up loving Trish Stratus or Chris Benoit. You know, those things to me are cool. And it's fun to find out.
That was an interesting name drop. That was an interesting name drop when she said Benoit.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that because, you know.
If you don't know what Jimmy's talking about, go back to our last episode 59. 9 with Shaz McKenzie.
What you mean, cuz?
What you mean, cuz? And listen to that podcast, and you'll hear what some of Shaz's started passion and starting of wrestling and why she got into it, which wasn't as layered as some people. It was more
That being said,
hey, I got a boyfriend, so he likes wrestling.
That being said, me and Shaz, we got beef. We got beef.
You got Oreo beef?
We got Oreo beef. That sounds very weird.
It's tied up. Tied up.
Okay, Captain, what's your favorite over-the-top character?
I mean, if it's the obvious, it's the Undertaker. I mean, he was
Which
one
one?
of my favorites from.
Yeah, which one?
Which one?
They both
one?
were. Good gracious.
Which Undertaker?
The original Undertaker.
Okay.
Purple gloves and everything?
Yes, the one that looked like he literally just dug a grave in someone's backyard and like threw a body into it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That Undertaker
Oh,
with Paul Bear and everything.
Paul Bear was
Yeah.
great.
Paul Bear as
$1 Million
an
Man,
over-the-top
actually.
character. Him and Brother Love.
Oh, jeez.
I
Yeah,
mean,
Brother Love.
Over the top, holy crap, over the top, but so fun to watch.
What'd you think of the spot with Brother Love and Money in the Bank?
I thought it was hilarious. Like it was like, I'm glad that it wasn't as cinematic as what happened at WrestleMania. I'm glad that it was a little bit more almost real time-ish rather than like look like a bunch of things just kind of like pieced together. So
Under edited together.
yeah, so I liked that part of it. I mean, seeing Brother Love there, I mean, hilarious. Just out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, in the bathroom washing his hands. He had to pee. Yeah. And he washed his hands.
COVID-19, you got to wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Sing happy birthday twice.
What the heck was the weird fake Doink the Clown behind the chair? Did you guys catch that? What was that?
Catch that.
If you have a chance to go back and go watch, randomly in the Money in the Bank match, Doink the Clown, or obviously someone dressed as Doink because Doink has passed away, comes up behind the chair, laughs a little bit with a weird circus music, and then disappears. Of all the spots they thought would be interesting, that made no sense to me.
We'll get a new character sometime soon.
I don't get what they did in that match. I think it was fun and funny, but for what it was, which was the Money in the Bank, which was one of the best pay-per-view matches that we talk about on this podcast all the time, I don't think that's fitting for that match. That match is an awesome ladder match that people put their necks out to have amazing spots in and perform and show their athleticism. That was a comedy of comedies of a match.
They still get the pass, though, right?
But again, yes, entertaining, and I would compare it to one of Matt Hardy's Broken Universes, matches. Something crazy out there, all over the place. Except I really feel for Dana Brooke, who obviously
best part of the match. Oh my God!
Why would you think that thing is the actual? Okay,
best part of the match. I was like, dude, what? I'm like, who is going to be the one to tell her? Sorry, but it's up on the roof.
But there's money in that briefcase. What was wrong with that? Oh darn! I got a whole briefcase full of money.
Yeah, I would have took that one and ran. You can earn a title shot somewhere else.
I'm surprised it wasn't followed by like a separation agreement the next day. Dana Brooke has collected her money, and now we've reached terms with her. And she's on her way. She's free to do whatever she wants.
I was disappointed that the men and the women weren't in the ring on the roof.
They were
together. They were in there for a little bit, but.
Which brings up the point. Why did Baron Corbin try to stop Asuka?
He wanted both briefcases.
Brief?
Yeah. Brief. Whatever.
But why? Why does he want both?
He's a heel. He's the king. They wanted her to bend a knee before she climbed up for it.
It just didn't. That part didn't make a lot of sense to me. I enjoyed the interaction and the fact that they actually there was good spots in that. Like Jimmy, you probably enjoyed that where Ray actually took Shayna Baszler's finisher, and Ray got squashed by Otis and Nia Jax. I thought that was like, okay, cool. We're getting some intergender stuff.
I like any little bit of intergender. I think one of the things that I hate within my being, and it's something that Shaz actually said on your guys' interview, was she was talking about how there are people that are just going to be against intergender no matter what. Screw that. Screw that. Even though it's true, I hate that. Just give us the intergender stuff, but you give it to the people that make sense, The people that put themselves, they did it before with Nia Jax, before Nia Jax ever got injured. She had that spot where she took like of course. But I'm just pointing to one of the more recent ones where Nia Jax took like every finisher ever from all the different men. Yeah.
Her reasoning, Shaz's reasoning, I think was something, and I think, Chris, you pointed out, you never even thought about it that way.
No.
Like just the fact of a minimal amount in some of these independent promotions of females that, to kind of get anywhere, you do have to wrestle, male talent. So I mean, that was something that I never thought of before, so Big Baby, that was Big Baby Jimmy's question.
Yeah, we give him credit for it.
So,
but what's interesting, and I just want to stay on the topic of women's wrestling a little bit, because do you guys feel like maybe women's wrestling is starting to turn the corner a little bit more now through this pandemic? Like, I feel like some Impact, I want to give credit to. AEW has actually had some decent matchups, and they're trying. They're actually pushing the tag titles a little bit more in WWE. There just seems to be a little bit of a turning of the corner with the women's wrestling division.
I see Big Baby Jimmy's got an opinion. I can see
pondering.
It's
I
sizzling
don't know.
in his head.
I mean, if you want me to agree, then
point counterpoint. Let's go.
I'm gonna say maybe a little bit. That's about it.
I'll take a little bit.
Just barely anything.
Just a little bit.
No. I mean, I still think that AEW's women's division is just this constant up, down circus all over the place. Like, you're doing the right thing, and then what is it? What is this match?
Yeah.
And it's sad to say that your role model, Christopher,
My role
is
model, Britt Baker.
usually the person that's always in that match, where it's just like, what is happening in this match?
Well, the last one was bad.
The last one was really bad.
It was rough. Statlander's lucky she got out of that without a bad injury. She took that move from Penelope, and it looked like it was going to be bad. She basically landed on her head directly. But Statlander is a champ, and she came out of it okay. I think the biggest deal with AEW is they need to focus these women, and they need to focus their stories, because what happens is from week to week, we're jumping all over the place between where's the feud, what's going on. The only thing that's been pretty consistent lately is Hikaru Shida. Hikaru Shida and her pursuit of Nyla Rose has been good. And it came to that head this week when Nyla comes and just smacks her on the head and says, I found your kendo stick, bitch, which I laughed my ass off. My wife laughed her ass off. It was great. But they need to continue that path. They need to push this into a multi-match situation between the two of them. What they are doing instead is going straight into a no DQ match. That's the problem. You guys, Jimmy, you talk about this all the time, where it's like long stories, right? Where it's not just, one time and you just kind of have a match and then you move on. You have to have long lined up stories that make sense, that have an end, but their end is way down there and you're building towards it. Instead, they're doing the women jump up, they have a match with whoever the champion is, and they disappear. Have a long story. Build
and also
towards
remember that, as the saying goes, absence makes the heart fonder. The heart fonder.
Honder.
And what I mean by that is
the title. Absence makes the fart
fonder. There you go.
Fart jokes are the best.
All right. But by that, and this is something that I've pushed so many times on this podcast, but I really need to emphasize it. Don't have the same people wrestle week to week. Take a break. Those
It's hard right now.
Those storylines that you create, they've got a ton of wrestlers. What are you talking about? They've got a ton of wrestlers.
There are some. It's
who's
hard,
ready in
right?
AEW though? Who's ready for that?
To be what? To be the top woman besides Nyla Rose?
Yeah, besides her. Yeah, who's ready to be in that?
She's
like
ready.
Consistently.
I think Statlander could.
Statlander's ready.
Like, is there more than 3 or 4? Like on their whole thing? Like, that would be consistently able to run with it.
I think Penelope Ford still needs some time. I think if they get, I think right now you're limited because there's only like 6 women who are available in the division during this pandemic time because they're in the area. You have people that aren't even in the country right now that are on their roster. Yeah. So that's my issue with Jimmy, people not wrestling every week. It's kind of tough right now because that's why a lot of these jobbers are getting a lot of time. A lot of these QT Marshall people, a lot of these Nightmare Factory
Take
people.
advantage of that.
They're taking great advantage of it. But I think it makes sense what you're saying, but I think the timing right now, they probably just need to just roll with this and get us some characters too. Because Penelope Ford is a character now. Britt Baker has a character now. Nyla Rose has a character. Hikaru Shida has a character. You're starting to build a division around characters, which I think was important. Before we started this AEW conversation with the women, who they had Nyla Rose and they had Riho. Britt Baker didn't have a character.
Yeah.
No.
That was it. They had 2 people. Nyla Rose, who had all this buzz around her, and Riho, who was Kenny Omega's, trained little girl. Now they have all these different characters that's building up the women's division. I think if you just give them time.
Kenny Omega's trained
little
girl.
Yeah, you ever see the matches with Riho and Kenny Omega when she was like 7 or 8 or whatever?
Just the wording. Wow. Just the wording, though.
No, well, but like, okay. The problem is that I speak in a non-COVID sense, right? I'm not thinking about the world that we're in. I'm not worried about that. I'm thinking past it. I'm thinking like towards the back quarter of this year when things should be a heck of a lot more opened up and you're going to actually start seeing crowds and stuff like that. And maybe we're just going to stay in our houses for the rest of our lives. Maybe.
Nice.
Maybe.
I don't know. But so I have to speak of wrestling like it's going to get back to where it is. Or where it was. God, I'm like I'm the master of speech today. And I think that the solution to that is, again, space stuff out. A storyline can last a long time if you don't have to have that wrestler on TV every single week. And I want to see, and I know it exists. This is the problem. So I'm sure that if like a WWE executive ever sat down with me, they could actually show me, like, week to week, okay, if we don't put Roman Reigns on this week, but we do put him on the next week and then we don't the next week, it's like see the ups and downs of viewership.
Who are you talking about?
I'd like to see that.
Roman Reigns
Who's
hasn't
Roman
been
Reigns?
on TV for...
It was an example.
Even the footage. They've been editing him out of footage.
I get the
It was
example.
an example.
Roman Reigns was on my TV earlier today. I was watching a movie that had a little cameo by Roman Reigns in it.
Well, all I have to say is, Roman, if they cut you out of the WWE, then good. Go somewhere else.
They're not cutting him out.
Of course they're not.
He just had twins. The guy just recovered from freaking cancer. Of course, he's going to take a little bit of a breather during this pandemic, and he deserves it. Whatever.
They're going to bring him back and start pushing hard for him versus The Rock at Mania in Hollywood next year.
But to Jimmy's point, I really hope that they're not looking at storylines in comparison to where their viewership numbers are. I mean, I get the importance of how many people are watching your show and all that kind of stuff, but that should not be a factor in your timeline for how you pace out a story.
But that's their own viewership is their only factor. Is the only thing that drives their stories. The only thing that makes them survive, live or die or whatever, is how people react to them. And I think that it's very rare that you see a story go on that doesn't have some form of traction. I mean, it may not have traction for us. I mean, there's plenty of stories that we've hated, but then those wrestlers go out in front of crowds and they actually get cheered, and we are sitting at home thinking, what the hell's wrong with this crowd? What the hell is wrong with that crowd?
Then it just oddly ends out of nowhere.
It's also the only wrestling, like, if we didn't watch any other wrestling, right? If all we watched was Raw and SmackDown for the rest of our lives, we just cut out everything else. Do you think some of these really bad storylines that maybe aren't totally bad, maybe they're riding the line a little bit, we might actually think, that's an okay storyline. But if we watched a bunch of other wrestling, we'd be like, nah, that storyline's garbage. Comparison is the killer.
Not us.
No.
Maybe other normal people.
No.
We're not normal.
I got the history under my belt of what good storylines were, so.
That's even worse. You're comparing the old to the new.
If I'm watching just nothing but Raw and SmackDown every week, I have to.
Yeah, well, that's a really rough life you live there then, because Raw used to be amazing and it is far from it nowadays.
SmackDown even had some time frames where it was really good too.
Yeah.
But hey, maybe we should all hope for that, Drew McIntyre, Jinder Mahal dream match that people started to whisper about.
What the hell?
Why is Jinder coming back as a face? I don't understand that. That makes no sense. That's like the Iron Sheik as a face. It doesn't mesh. Like, you're just supposed to be a bad guy. Like, it makes sense.
They're gonna make him a face, so him and Drew become good friends, and then he's gonna turn on him, and that's gonna set up their feud for like SummerSlam or something, which nobody needs to see. Drew just needs to kick him in the face good and hard and let Jinder go to SmackDown.
The worst. That's everybody breathe, do the deep breath like that, because that could definitely happen, and it's an awful, awful, awful idea, awful storyline before it even happens. Why
It's gonna
why
happen.
waste your time?
I just
And
hope
then the
they don't
quality
waste
of the
a big
wrestling.
pay-per-view for it.
Quite frankly, WWE, they need to change something. Like the good thing about this whole COVID thing for all the wrestlers is that they've been getting rest, and good that they've been getting rest. Now maybe
Some.
they've been getting too much rest, maybe,
Akira Tozawa hasn't.
Yeah, dude's a workhorse.
but let me just say this: the quality of the wrestling when these wrestlers wrestle all the time is gotten it's turned into a joke in the WWE. How many matches do we watch week to week where we're just like, I don't know, it was just the match was just kind of a match, you know? And we shouldn't be saying that. We should be saying, you know, that was a good match. That was a pretty good match, you know, all the time, every single time. Instead, you give us a Money in the Bank pay-per-view that has a match between Jeff Hardy and Cesaro, and there are people, and this is some, you know what? I preach all the time about how much we should support the wrestling community and how great it is and all these podcasts and blogs and stuff like that. But if you are seriously watching that Jeff Hardy Cesaro match and giving it a B or an A, you need to go stop watching wrestling and go find something else to do.
Testify.
Because that was a dumpster fire of a match. And there were people out there that were saying, that was a pretty good match. I really enjoyed that match. What did you enjoy about it? Watching somebody really good at wrestling like Cesaro wrestle a Jeff Hardy that is way past his prime and looked really bad? I mean, no offense, Jeff Hardy, but you didn't look good. You had to. If you went back and watched that match, you knew it was a bad match.
He'd been gone from injury for a long time. I'm surprised they wouldn't do him into something like that quickly.
Cesaro, come on, the most misused wrestler in all of WWE. You could go anywhere and you could be a fucking king, but instead you wrestle for WWE. And I mean, I'm assuming because you're still there, you know, you like the paychecks, like the work, like everything. I mean, so that's on you. So if you like that, that's fine. But dude, you are the professional wrestler in wrestling right now, and you don't get any credit for it.
And
Stupid stuff like that.
He is not even in the IC title tournament. Like, that has got to be like one of the biggest snubs. And like, if it's just because was aligned, you know, with Sammy and Nakamura, okay, but Nakamura is in the tournament too. I mean, it's so stupid.
Who all's in the tournament?
Gulick and Daniel Bryan just had the match, and Gulick lost, and that was his like farewell match. They had Corbin and Elias wrestle, and Elias has already beaten Corbin, so Corbin's already out. Shinsuke, and I forget the other part of the bracket now, but it's not Cesaro.
Chuckles is looking it up. But I will say this: I will self-plug the one storyline that I've tried to push many, many times on this podcast. Every single time that they do this to Cesaro, the storyline gets better and better and better.
The thing is they could have did it. They could have like started planting the seeds for it at, you know, Money in the Bank. They could have had them break into a room and he's looking at all the belts on the walls.
Yep.
He should have had an old school like ski mask on. He could have been there like
he had the hoodie on and they all thought he was the computer guy. And then they turn him around and he's holding a belt in his hand and he takes off running.
That'd be good.
So
doesn't need to be funny. It needs to be a serious storyline.
So the other two matches
good too. I like
are Sheamus versus Jeff Hardy.
That's right.
Bye Hardy.
And then Shinsuke versus AJ to go against Elias.
That's right, AJ. I mean,
AJ and Jeff, I hate to say it, Jeff should not be in it either. They should have had Dolph in it, and Cesaro should have been in it.
It's going to be Sheamus, Daniel Bryan, right? Doesn't that work out?
They're on the same side of the bracket.
Oh, are they on the same side of the bracket?
Yeah, it's Shinsuke and AJ on one side with Elias, and it's Sheamus and Jeff with Daniel Bryan on the other.
It'll come down to Elias and Daniel Bryan and they'll give it to Elias.
Face.
You let
can turn
Elias
him.
turn heel again. He
They can
does
turn
better as a
him.
heel.
That's like, you know what? It's painful because I agree he does better as a heel, but this weird bald monkey's pet peeve of me where we say everybody's better as a heel, it makes my brain go loco. My brain is turning to mush. Everybody's always better as a heel.
Daniel Bryan is better as a face.
I don't know. He was a pretty darn good heel as the world
belt,
champion.
He was a change, and he was an ass as a heel, but he's a better face.
Fickle.
And I liked Gulick better as a face. I loved him as a heel in NXT. But on the main card, I liked him as a face with Daniel Bryan.
Dude, no way.
PowerPoint presentation?
Gulak's heel PowerPoint presentations that to Chuck's point, never got to say a full presentation.
We never got to see him.
I would sat there through all 300 and something slides.
Agree. I think he should put that out online as a last statement. But true. No, Chris, who do you think is going to be the final two in that tournament?
I just told you.
You're not Chris.
You know, it very well is probably going to be AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan.
Exactly.
Because
that's what it's going to be.
They're pushing AJ right now. AJ is getting his matches in, which are his dream matchups through the last whatever part of his contract, his last 3 years of his contract. Daniel Bryan doesn't know how long he's going to go, so he's also getting those dream matches of his contract. Hasn't touched the IC title since he had to retire. AJ just jobbed out to Taker.
AJ hasn't had the IC title.
It's a title he's never had. It's a good story on both sides. It makes sense. I just kind of wish the OC was there with AJ to go up against Daniel Bryan with Drew Gulak. I think that would have built the story up even more.
Yeah. I can't wait. They have a non-compete when it's over. I can't wait to see them show back up in New Japan. They're
already doing
better.
a bunch of stuff on social media.
Yeah. Oh,
question for Ferguson. You guys. You guys want to go to Japan?
No.
Yes.
Like right now? Probably not.
Not right now, but I'm just saying in general.
Right now.
I really want to go to Japan and watch some wrestling.
Oh yeah, go to the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather see wrestling at the Tokyo Dome than Madison Square Garden.
I'd say.
I think I would agree with that.
I agree with that, but I agree with that because I've seen it at Madison Square Garden. If I've never seen it,
No.
I don't know. There's something about the Garden, man. You know me.
There's something about the Garden, but as a real wrestling fan, Tokyo Dome is
fake wrestling fan.
No,
just call me a fake wrestling fan.
You're just not real enough.
Okay.
I sometimes wonder if I'd be one of those people that would go over to Tokyo and just be like, I must live in Tokyo for the rest of my life.
Oh, dude, there's so many places I've been where I don't want to come back. I want to stay.
Dude, it's so hard to to go live over there. Like in order for you to get citizenship, you like legit have to be like, yep, I am 100% Japan. You have to give up your citizenship in whatever country you're coming from. You have
they don't like dual citizenship.
Yeah, they do not do dual citizenship. You have to legitimately put forth an effort into the economy, with your job and everything. And I think you have to have lived there for 10 years in order to then get citizenship in Japan. They're no joke. They're listen, if you just want to live here a little bit, that's not for us. You need to go 100%.
What if he goes over there and marries a Japanese girl? Will that help him?
I don't know.
It would help her come to the States.
It wouldn't help her at all. It would hurt her.
The bald monkeys talk Japanese citizenship.
Hey, we talk a little bit about everything. I mean, come on.
We were talking
There's
about the cloud. We were talking about
Yeah, we were
clouds
talking about
earlier.
the cloud earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
no
there,
structure.
it's there,
Chris
it's over
didn't
there.
know, well, where's the cloud at? I was like, you were like up there. I was like, Nimbus
Are you
clouds.
really gonna do this bad cloud joke again? Like seriously?
Honestly, Chris just didn't know how to use Google, and that's what his whole issue was.
He's old.
Yeah.
He's got that old man syndrome.
Whoa.
Listen,
man
no,
Christopher.
Chuck, I'm getting ready to defend you because I think you do way better than he does.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh man.
Did I mention that I'm so glad you're back this week, Jimmy?
Yes, you did. Just now.
Mm.
Cool.
Anybody catch up on?
We can edit that to where you say you missed him.
No, don't you dare, Chuck. Does anybody catch up on any wrestling that they, maybe weren't watching before last time we talked? Anybody start watching Impact? Anybody get more into NWA?
I was watching the highlights of the Impact matches through their YouTube. And then and now I'll go into the I'm an old guy thing. I had no idea what the hell Twitch was. And then
oh my god!
all of a sudden,
I
like,
don't know.
they're like, oh yeah. And I go into it and I was like,
God.
oh crap, look at this. I can watch the whole Impact live on this thing
Yeah.
called Twitch.
That guy,
Big Baby
this
Jimmy
guy,
is not
or the old
affiliated
guys.
with any other Bald Monkeys in the Bald Monkeys podcast.
Yeah.
Hey,
He
I've
does
made
not-
like 7 Twitch
Yeah.
channels for people. I know. I get
Oh, yeah.
Twitch.
Twitch
Young.
was originally a
Young.
gamer streaming service.
Yeah. It still
Of
is.
which
so-
To a big
Rusev,
extent.
not Rusev, is having a hard time understanding too. If you've been
If
following
listen,
on Twitter.
if we ever got big enough on this podcast, I would do the Bald Monkeys Twitch thing, and I would play video games and have people just ask me wrestling questions all the time.
We are
Do
that
it.
big. We should have our own Twitch. We have our
Yeah.
own Instagram. You should go follow that. We have our own Facebook. You should go follow that. We have a YouTube channel. You should go like and subscribe there. We're on Podbean, iTunes, TuneIn, anywhere else you could listen to a
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. You're adding Chuck a lot of stuff he's got to add into this over the screen as you say it. Follow it here. Follow it here. Follow it here.
Hold on.
My point here. The point there.
Hold on.
Yeah,
I
but
get it.
making a Twitch channel right now means that somebody's got to maintain it.
You
could
just
do
said
it.
you would.
You just volunteered.
I didn't. I said if we got
You
bigger, I
totally
would volunteer.
Oh,
I
all
said
of
if we
our
got
listeners
bigger,
heard it. It's recorded, and now
I just
Jimmy
said it
is-
when we
I'm
get
sorry
bigger.
to all 6 of you
Yada
listeners.
yada yada.
All 6 of you. It was 4.
Hello?
There's 6 now.
Here you
I
go.
apologize to all y'all.
Oh, there we go.
Here's
Click.
our link tree. You
Click
guys
on
can
that.
follow us on
Click.
any one of these things. We got a whole bunch of stuff on here. We got our links to our merch sites. I mean, just go to any one of our Twitters and you can get to you can follow us everywhere.
See, look at that.
Are
We're
we,
high
are we
tech,
done
Jimmy.
with? Are we done with shameful self plugs?
Never.
No, never.
Never.
I have been playing a lot of catch up, Chris. I obviously, I was busy with work and taking a little bit of a hiatus on top of that too, just because we do this
It's
every
a
week.
lot of
So
wrestling.
it's once work gets compounded with that, like for me, Big Baby Jimmy is a little bit, needed to take a couple weeks off. So I've been playing a lot of catch up, and been catching up a lot on the last little bit of NWA Power that I just hadn't really watched, and watched the last couple episodes of Impact, which I hadn't watched live, but I've been watching Impact, for a while. But you mentioned something to me the other day on the text tree. You said that they were talking about possibly putting NXT on Tuesdays.
Yeah, well, there was a weird rumor going. So when NXT was coming up with the big announcement where Regal said that there was going to be a huge announcement on NXT, they all of a sudden the rumor mill went crazy that NXT would be moving to Tuesdays. Now, at the next text I followed that with was, never mind, nothing to see here, because what actually happened was they announced the return of In Your House, but it was going to be NXT TakeOver In Your House. Love the idea, love In Your House, great pay-per-views in the past. Don't know how it really meshes with NXT. I think it was just a money grab because it's a good logo and stuff. But that being said, the rumors are still out there that it's been floated that NXT to Tuesdays could happen in the future.
If that ever happens, I think that Impact immediately needs to go to Thursday.
And they would. I think 100% they would, because Impact, I think of anybody, has been the most flexible promotion out there right now. And they have to be. But I think they've been the most flexible promotion. I think they're doing the right things. And I think they have a real opportunity to push themselves right now.
I'll go back to something that we talked about a long, long time ago, right when this podcast was in its early phases. And we were talking about AEW, and it hadn't premiered yet. Like, this was a while ago. And what I had said was, in this whole war between WWE and AEW, Impact really has a chance to go for it. And I think that right now it's the best example of that. Run with it, because AEW's doing pretty good. But they are but one show. WWE has been doing not that great.
They're coasting. They're in cruise control.
Yeah, they're coasting. I mean, NXT's still pretty good.
I like it. I think NXT's in cruise control.
Yeah,
I think the only reason they've been getting a spike is because they've had some uptick with Cross coming in.
Yeah. What do you guys think of? What do you guys think of Cross?
I think the theatrical entrance was
we were watching. You were watching with me.
Was good until the lip syncing.
I hated the lip syncing so much.
Yeah,
I hated it.
The rest of it was great. I think it was a great first entrance, and that should be it. A first entrance. It should not be every single time. I don't need to see Scarlett lip syncing every single time. I think I knew what they were trying to do, but it didn't come off the right way.
It's cringy is how it came off.
I think if she would have just danced and not lip synced, would have been fine. But the lip syncing just was like, it was awkward. Other than that, he's awesome.
Why are you lip syncing?
Great wrestler.
Stop lip syncing. Keep your mouth shut. Stop lip syncing. But again, I enjoyed his match. I enjoyed his first match. Did the domination. It looked good. That jobber that he destroyed took some wicked bumps.
That's his job. Pun intended. He's an enhancement talent. And I think through this period of time of wrestling, enhancement talent, the Brooklyn Brawlers of the world have had their time to shine.
Who follows me on Twitter?
He does. He follows Chuck on Twitter now. But the enhancement talent, like, this has been their time to shine. And finally, it's like, oh, people can't travel. I'm here. I can get my ass kicked. Let's go. Get my ass kicked every week. Got Pineapple Pete.
Pineapple Pete.
What was that? What was his name? Shug D. AKA Pineapple Pete.
Yeah. There's been a couple of NXT guys that have been able to really get on the main card, getting squashed by guys. Tozawa, we joke about that, but Tozawa honestly has had some fun matches, and the guy's 2-0 in the tournament right now. So they've given him a push.
I've been reading about that, and apparently Heyman's really big on his working. Like, he's a great worker, and he appreciates that. So Heyman said, as much as I can, I will have him out there. He will get his time to shine.
It's awesome.
He wrestles twice a week sometimes.
Yeah, he deserves it. He deserves every bit of that. Do you guys remember the black mass he took? Like, that was one of the first great black masses we saw. He took that thing right on the chin.
He's a great at taking some of those hits, and that.
Jimmy's down there in the corner looking like a vampire.
I like his finisher. His finisher looks very cool because of the lack of what it does. Like, it's that weird thing where he jumps up, and like, even when I see it now, I've seen it a million times, but it's like I expect more out of it, but then it just stalls and he just drops, and it just has always looked really neat.
I feel like it would have been better back when he was bigger, because he used to be a big dude. And now that he's so small, it's like, okay, The bigger
He's a-
people he hits with it, it's like, huh?
He's a body transformation.
I feel that
guy,
kind of
man.
way. Yeah, I feel the way with Finn Balor sometimes when he hits the coup de grace. I mean, yeah, you're stomping on somebody, but I mean,
Well, it's similar to
Spike
Cameron
Dudley used to do the
Grimes.
same thing.
Yeah, Cameron Grimes, I feel like the same way. Cameron Grimes needs a new finishing move. Because just stepping on a guy, that's not no.
Yeah.
Unless you're
New
Otis.
I think
That would
I think
hurt.
Cameron Grimes should suffocate
Or like
his
Strowman
opponents with
jumping off
his
the top
chest
of the
hair.
road.
What was that, Jimmy?
So I think Cameron
Grimes
Grimes should
suffocate-
suffocate his opponents with his chest hair. That man has a
It's
lot of
called
chest
the
hair.
Creamy
Now-
Kramer.
Oh,
No.
could you imagine a match between Kramer and Cameron Grimes? Oh
They would just
man,
get intertwined.
exactly.
Why don't you throw Killian Dane's shoulders into that match as well?
Yes.
Where is
I'm
Killian
emphasizing
An
just
A-Train,
his shoulders.
An A-Train
Oh,
A-Train.
A-Train.
Yeah.
I would
Or
assume
Prince
Killian
Albert
Dane's
or
probably
Albert
over in
or-
his
Yeah.
home country.
Whichever name.
That's probably
But is-
why he hasn't been around.
But Nikki Cross has been here.
Right?
They're
Okay.
married. They're married.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
What?
What? Kayfabe?
I don't
Sisters
keep up
are
with
real?
couples that much, so I actually didn't know that.
There's couples
The
everywhere.
more you know.
So Tozawa kind of does a coffin drop. Darby Allin obviously does the coffin drop. Let's
Does it
Darby
segue.
Allin's is better.
A lot better.
Fair enough. What about Darby Allin recently? Because he, had that loss to Cody, and it was a really weird
That was a good match.
rollover.
Very weird.
Great match with a weird ending.
Horrible finish. Yeah.
But now they're playing off this thing with Taz. Have you guys seen these promos with Taz and Darby Allin?
Mhm.
Where Taz is trying to give him advice. What direction do you think they're going with that?
Taz is going to hit him with a Tazplex at some point.
Cody
No.
or Darby?
I just don't think
Darby.
Darby needs a valet. Do you guys think Darby needs a valet?
No, and I think Taz is better on commentary than having him be a valet. I think that's just way too much for him at this point in his age and career.
If you were going to have him be a valet, who would he be a valet for?
Well, the tease is for Darby. That's the weird part.
Yeah, I get that. I'm
But
saying,
unless he's bringing, unless they have someone else, and essentially what this is Taz teasing that he's trying to help Darby. Darby refuses, and then Taz goes and helps somebody else in spite of that, who crushes Darby.
Jeff Cobb?
Jeff Cobb. That makes all the sense in the world. That's
He kind of
the
looks
nail
he's
on the
kind of
head.
like young.
As I was
he's kind of like
talking
young
through that,
Taz.
Yeah.
that makes all the sense in the world. Jeff Cobb is coming with Taz to destroy Darby Allin.
Let's do it.
And that'd be great.
God,
That'd be a great
It
program.
could be done so right too.
That'd be a great program.
And
We
what
just
was
talked through a
Cobb
great
on? Like
program.
two episodes of Dynamite, and that was about it.
He's not
He's
signed.
always been an independent. Yeah.
Okay.
He's not signed. You may have known him from Lucha Underground, but he was masked in Lucha Underground. So
But after this kind of not great period of time for wrestlers, I think they're going to want to be attached to promotions if they can be.
well, it's a contract. So these guys are getting paid who are under contract as AEW. They don't have long-term contracts. The guys who are getting paid per appearance are suffering right now. Those are the guys that are dying for t-shirts to be sold on Pro Wrestling Tees or trying to get on our podcast or something. There's a lot of wrestlers out there like that. So yeah, Jimmy, I think that's true. Like
Like an open-ended contract.
people are looking for contracts right now, but
Yeah.
you're not giving
Well,
out
Jeff Cobb,
contracts.
you are welcome to the AEW family. I can tell you that right now.
Big
can't see
Baby
him
Jimmy
going anywhere
speaking
else.
for Cody.
Yeah, he would definitely end up in AEW. I can't see him going anywhere else. So
And I think after the big purge that WWE has done, I think there's a lot of interesting, once everything gets rolling again, there's a lot of interesting opportunities. I'll say a little bit of opportunity in AEW, not a ton, because I still consider, like you said, the Revival's new tag team
Revolt.
The Revolt.
The Revolt.
Yeah.
I would assume them that they go to AEW, but AEW can't take everybody. But Impact, there's room there. I know there's room there in Impact. But the problem is again, the economic wheels need to be turning again. And if you spread out enough good people to an Impact Wrestling, it's possible that maybe, it'd be a show worth going to, a live show worth going to whenever.
I agree.
Who all do you think will go to AEW? Because I think Zack Ryder's going. I think that's a given.
Yeah. I think
And
Zack
they're
Ryder. I
viable.
think the Revolt go. I think,
Yeah.
like I said, I think it'd be an interesting guess to say Jeff Cobb is going there.
3 and Maverick will be re-signed, and I think they're going to repackage Rusev in some way to have him come back. I think he's going to come back, and I hate to say it, right back into the feud with Lashley when he finally snaps and takes down Lana.
Well, that's not a repackage. That's not called a repackage.
Once he
That's
gets
called
Lana
a-
back, they'll have him go in a different direction. They should let him go back to just crushing people again.
Serious question, guys. Just real quick. Do you guys feel different at all?
No, I feel the same.
I feel exactly the same.
I feel like I've raised up in the world.
I just feel like
I'm going to let you guys know I'm the only one that feels the same. You should all feel very different.
Wow.
Okay. But no.
Yeah.
So yes, back to what I was saying. So I can.
So where's Drew Gulak going to go?
He's available immediately. Like he can go anywhere he wants right now. He doesn't have to wait or anything.
What is he packaged as? What was his persona before he came to WWE?
I
don't know.
He did a lot of
him from back then.
Well, he did some stuff with Riddle. He did some stuff with
Evolve and stuff.
With Best Friends, like with Chuck Taylor. But there's a bunch of spots where I could see him going, and because I don't see one spot, I don't know. Like AEW, sure, why not? Impact, sure, why not? Ring of Honor, sure, why not? NWA,
NWA Power,
why not?
I think NWA Power is a very interesting place for the way he tries to wrestle.
But they already have
either there or Ring of Honor.
Sandow. What's Sandow's name now in
Aaron.
NWA? Thank you, Aaron Stevens.
Aaron
Stevens.
Yeah.
They already have Aaron Stevens there, and I feel like Aaron Stevens.
Don't look at me. Don't look at my eyes.
And Drew Gulak are kind of the same character. Not exactly the same, but I feel like Drew Gulak gives off that Aaron Stevens character a little bit. So it's like,
I think it's a good comparison. I definitely think the kind of full of yourself.
Gulak's a better wrestler.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Of course. Goes without saying.
He is. I think Aaron Stevens would say
but
that.
But does Gulak know karate?
Karate.
Mongolian. Karate. So Drew Gulak can go anywhere he wants. I think he has his pick of where he wants to go, and I think that's why he's leaving, is because I think he wanted more money from WWE, and I basically think they were like, no, which was weird to me because they've been throwing money around like crazy. And I think Gulak can get the money he wants from anybody. I think NWA makes sense because he could do NWA and Ring of Honor at the same time, because Marty's letting everybody do that. And I think that would work really well for Drew Gulak, because Gulak could promote himself. He's done that for years. The reason why Gulak even got into WWE is because he promoted himself. And he's Daniel Bryan 2.0. And I think Gulak can continue that.
The American Dragon 2.0.
So we'll see. There's a lot of buzz with free agents right now. I mean, we haven't even talked about Kanellis. I mean, Kanellis is out there, and he's just doing a podcast right now. Who knows where they're going to end up?
I feel like they'll end up back in Japan. He was very big for what he was doing in Japan.
But he's got 2 kids now.
Maybe more her. She was very big in Japan.
Man, could all you wrestlers just please stop doing podcasts?
All you wrestlers, all you wrestling fans, just all stop doing podcasts.
I don't mind the wrestling fans. I don't mind. It's like you have to deal with a certain amount of competition that you're going to have. So the old, balding, overweight wrestling fans in the world. We have to, you know, we have to fight with other old, balding wrestling fans. But when we have to fight with actual wrestlers,
We're not going to win.
man, we're not going to win. We don't have any cool insider stories.
We get
We have to bring
squashed.
wrestlers on to do that.
We're the jobber in that case.
Chris
Yes.
Chris knows
Yes.
Oscar.
I do know Oscar.
Yeah.
I said hi to
Yeah.
him. Hi, Oscar.
That's a blatant lie, people. He does not know Oscar.
No,
just
he,
random
it's
Oscar.
true. He legitimately waved to her.
No
And
way.
I think she might have
that's
waved
how
back.
that's how much
She did. She said hi
did.
back.
She did.
Very sweet.
I did see
Chris
that,
has photos with tons of people
Yeah.
that were in wrestling at one
Oh
point
yeah,
or another.
yeah. He did post that picture of him with Stacy Keibler and Maven and Randy Orton
That's right. It was out of nowhere.
Yep.
Maybe.
out of nowhere.
A picture out of nowhere.
A very
Just like
young
Maven's career
Randy
went out of
Orton
nowhere.
too, which leads me to think again that maybe Chris is really old.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm old.
yeah.
I'm okay with
Old
that.
guy. Old guy, hiding his baldness with that hat.
I took that off
I don't know
like
how
three
much-
times
I don't-
already.
I don't think he's that much older than you though, Jimmy. So be careful.
Older and wiser. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
Older and somethinger. So who won? By the way,
Older
who
and
was the
thinner.
pick champion of Money in the Bank?
Captain, who was the pick champion?
Oh man.
Does it even matter after that event?
Hold on.
It wasn't me.
I'm solely saying that because I came in last for the first time in a long time.
But I will say this: it's hard. Those are the matches where it's harder to hit the Money in the Bank champion. I did hit the
Okay.
men's Money in the Bank champions.
So it was a tie between two people that aren't even in this podcast right now.
So they don't get
So it
any
doesn't matter.
credit at all. We don't
It
talk
doesn't
about
even matter.
them.
Creamy Kramer and Nakamura both tied with 5. However, and it pains me to even say this. However, Nakamura did not pick the 2 extra matches,
He didn't.
but
He got
that's his
5
own
without
fault.
picking the extra matches.
But that's his own fault. So, yeah, Kramer and Nick tied at 5. Me, Tiro, Mr. Christopher, and Jimmy were at 4. And the boss, Steven, was down at the bottom with a lowly 3.
3? Oh, I thought I had 2.
No, look at that.
There you go. One more than you
Okay.
thought.
I had like what 4 pay-per-views in a row where I came in first.
You
so.
were rolling, yeah.
Bro,
If we
we've
had
all,
a belt, you'd be.
I was there, and I fell from grace hard. About
It's
as
just
hard,
like
about as hard
problem
as
is-
Otis on that ladder when he broke the step.
the problem is that I think we can all agree that it hurts just a little bit more whenever Nakamura wins anything.
It is true.
It just hurts just a little bit more.
A little bit.
And
more.
especially he didn't even pick the 2 extra matches and he's still number 1.
Does it hurt your pride, Jimmy?
I don't know.
There's a rivalry there. I mean, I know the boss and Big Baby Jimmy have a rivalry, but there's a Nakamura Big Baby Jimmy rivalry that's been brewing for a long time.
Ours
Well,
is
do
just-
you
ours is
remember
just
in
a playful
Houston?
banter.
Hearing us in the
Yeah.
back of the car in Houston, and Nakamura was
I ignore you.
basically the definition in that car. He was the definition of the worst type of WWE fan that wants nothing. Is just always like, WWE's the best. La 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 la. AEW sucks. La 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 la.
I do
Yeah.
remember something like that happening.
I was driving, but I was
was
probably
awful.
I was turning to Chuck and just saying, kill them both. I don't care.
It was
I've-
awful.
I think
And then-
there's a cage match coming up for Big Baby Jimmy and Nakamura.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna dress up like Vader and Vader bomb him through the world.
I'd pay to see that. $5.
It's time! It's time! It's Big Baby Jimmy time!
That's
I see
a
you more
new
as the
promo.
Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh man.
Bam Bam
Wow.
Bigelow was the shit, man. Bam
Yeah.
Bam Bigelow was awesome.
He was Bam Bam Big.
And him and when he was in Major Pain too, his cameo in there.
Bam Bam. So it's funny. That's a weird segue, but Bam Bam Bigelow used to do the cartwheel, and
The moonsault
Otis
cartwheel thing.
Otis did a cartwheel on SmackDown, but it was more Chris Farley cartwheel than Bam Bam Bigelow cartwheel. Not the same.
I
Not
like
the
that.
same at all.
Very different.
Two different things.
So what are we looking forward to coming up, boys? We looking forward to
The
anything?
Iconics are back to take the
Yeah.
tag team women's title by storm.
Mhm.
Iconic. I love
like
the
the-
Iconics.
I feel like
I
there's an
remember-
opportunity.
I said that
yeah.
a few weeks ago that I missed them and I was ready for them to come back.
I remember a day when Christopher used to say how much he disliked the
I hate 'em.
Iconics.
Hate them.
He
Things
loves
change.
Now,
Billy Kay.
now
No.
things
Yeah,
change
That's-
apparently
let's-
all the time.
That was the point. Yeah, Steven hit on it right there. I struggle through Billy Kay's wrestling. I do. Peyton Royce, I've been a fan of, but Billy Kay's wrestling I've struggled with. But in a time where I want them to push the women's tag team titles, I want the heel Iconics back. I want the sleazy Iconics back to cheat and steal wins left and right. I want those Iconics back. We need those Iconics in the women's tag division because we have nothing right now other than Alexa Bliss and Criss Cross coming out.
Chris
and
Cross,
freaking-
Leper Cross.
There you go. I knew you were going to say it. Nikki Cross coming out there and just doing Moment of Bliss, that's not a match. That's not building the tag division. Have matches and build the tag division. And even if they're quick matches where they steal it, I think the Iconics could help the tag division right now.
Between the 3 shows during the week, that title should get defended at least
Tons of-
once.
It should get tons of airtime and
At least once.
It should 2 out of 3 shows they should be on. They should be on the show. They don't have to wrestle all 3 shows, but they should be on the show 2 out of 3 every single week. Just continually putting the tag belts in front of our face. That's how you push it.
Well, I will say this. I'm glad that you've come around on the Iconics because here, ladies and gentlemen, on the Bald Monkeys Wrestling Podcast, we support Australian wrestling.
Yes, we do. We're here for PWA.
I love the Iconics. I love Billy Kay. I love both of them. I think they're spectacular.
they play their characters well.
Well, it's
I miss the
absence
bad
thing, too.
impressions. I miss the bad impressions. That was always my favorite thing that they did. Like doing the impression of Charlotte Flair. And of course, it doesn't sound anything like Charlotte Flair, and it's nothing like Charlotte Flair, but they act like it's the greatest impression ever.
Hi, I'm Charlotte.
Yeah, exactly. Again, that's over the top stuff that wrestling needs all the time. Just take it to 100. That's what was interesting watching that Dark Side of the Ring about the Road Warriors. They're talking about the Road Warriors just taking it to the extreme. Like their character was just to the extreme, whether it was Hawk or Animal, just always to the extreme, and that's what made them good. There's a trend there in all of wrestling.
Did you guys know that how much what was it? It was all these guys were in lived in the same area, right? It was Hawk and Animal and Scott. I forgot his
Nikita
last name.
Koloff.
Nikita Koloff was another one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there was like 6 or 7 guys.
Rick
that all-
Rude.
Yeah, Rick
that
Rude
just
was one
all
of them.
grew up in the same spot. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It was
Was
a story that I
DiBiase on
story I
that
didn't
list?
know.
I don't know. I don't
I'd
remember.
have to go back and look.
Kurt Hennig, right?
Yes.
Kurt Hennig.
Yes.
That was
Kurt
the
Hennig.
one.
I mean,
All of them were from Minnesota.
Yeah, it was a
That's
good episode. I mean,
Crazy.
Minnesota.
I remember. I mean, I remember them more as the Legion of Doom. But I mean, I used to. I mean, though the days of those tag teams. I mean, Legion of Doom, Demolition. Those guys were like 2 of my favorite tag teams back in the day. I mean, I remember having like a cassette tape of both like the entrances. I mean, their entrance music, I loved them, both of them. I mean, how could you get, oh, what a rush? I mean, come on.
What is it with Chuck and just really loving big, bulky tag teams?
Dude, well, the Viking Raiders, I'm
Uh-oh.
I'm not quite.
You're not digging what they're doing right now? We're going to have an axe throwing contest tomorrow night.
Do you not like basketball, Chuck?
No, I'm fine with basketball. I played it for 1 year in my local like CYA, and I was terrible. I remember I had to buy Converse sneakers. I was probably the worst basketball player ever. It did not work out well for me.
Vikings aren't good at basketball.
But the Viking Raiders were apparently awesome at basketball. I mean, you saw what happened at the end there. I mean, but
why would they let them win? That makes no sense. Why would they let them win? We could do anything better than you. Why would they let them win?
Because you just want to be like, oh, okay, you guys won, but watch this.
Storm
Eyes closed, behind the back, underneath the legs, twirl up in the air. Yeah, I'll swish it from here. I don't know. I just don't like what I have no words. I have no words.
It's okay. You're not the only one who doesn't have words for that.
If it listen,
they've come a long way.
Listen,
right?
Viking Raiders, if it keeps going like this, we're gonna have to debeard you.
Oh,
that
Put
would
it out
be
there.
some like crazy television.
Debearding is some serious stuff because some people can't even grow beards. Like, look at Christopher there; he can't grow a beard.
This is all it is from here.
If Christopher
Get
is
all
right,
white
he's
trashy on the
lying.
sides too. Don't feel bad.
Yeah. On my screen, that's actually Steven. But
There's Chuck.
Brady Bunch,
Steven.
Bald Monkey Bunch.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with them, and I wish I wish they could just go back to the way that it was before.
Viking experience. You want the Viking experience back?
That would be better, as long as they were like Vikings and not. I'm better than you are.
You saw they got the pants and the things. They're Vikings. It's bad. It's really bad, and that's not what we're looking forward to, Jimmy. You asked what we're looking forward to. Not that.
Not that. What about you, Christopher? What are you looking forward to?
Christopher. More Impact Wrestling, more AEW wrestling. Getting to this next pay-per-view for AEW. Interested to see what they do with Cody and the belts, to see if they're going to give him this title or if he's going to get beat up again by Archer. I don't know. There's a lot of questions right now.
Tyson's going to be there. Tyson's going to show up and be there, and he's going to knock somebody out, I bet, because he's been training and he's in amazing shape right now again.
Yeah, Sammy Guevara is getting punched. Sammy Guevara is the punching bag of AEW, and he does a hell of a job being that punching bag. I'm impressed with that dude.
Tozawa of AEW.
No, he's beyond Tozawa. Dude, the guy got hit with a golf cart.
That's why it's always fun to watch those Darby Guevara matches, because I feel like they're always like trying to one up each other. Like, I can take the craziest bump.
Yeah.
You know what I really want? You know what I really want? I really want a hardcore wrestling match. Can one of these promotions give me a hardcore wrestling match? I know it's a stretch, and I gotta wait. It's okay.
You're getting Hikaru Shida versus Nyla Rose. DQ. No DQ.
No DQ does not mean hardcore.
What kind of match is Moxley and Brody Lee having?
Just a match as of right now. I don't know if there's a stipulation to it yet.
If there was no such thing as COVID, it would be a hardcore match. I can guarantee you that.
That is the ultimate. Yeah.
Might die.
Those two are the ultimate. We've been talking about those two pairing up in AEW, and it's here and it's happening, and we're not really that excited about it because of the circumstances.
You look up the footage from both of them and CZW, and man,
Not for the faint of heart.
CZW's crazy,
No.
man.
Duh.
But valuable.
What about anybody else have anything they're looking forward to?
I get to watch a whole bunch of stuff because I got so much time on my hands now. It's like ridiculous. I can watch wrestling every day. Like all
Don't
day
get
long.
used to it.
NWA.
Don't get used to it. Before you know it, you're gonna be
Hey.
back to
I'm
There's
actually
having any
excited
plenty to
for
watch.
more documentaries. Like you said, The Undertaker one's great. I love a good documentary, and wrestling ones just make it better. What about you, Jimmy?
I do
What do you
really
wanna do?
hope
What are you excited for?
that
Creepy.
that last episode of Dark is a really, really rough watch. I want to get out of that episode feeling kind of drained, actually.
will.
Because
You
at
will.
the end of the day,
will.
it is that does make good television, even though it's tough to watch.
Hear his true feelings on the Blue Blazer.
Past that, I would like from WWE to see I don't know. How about I throw out a word I've used a million times? Continuity. Make good choices, make good storylines, stick with them. Yada yada yada. But then again, I don't really care. I don't really watch anymore, so you do whatever you want actually. So as long as you don't screw up NXT. From
Sounds like you just
AEW.
wasted the last 30 seconds of your speaking time.
No, I mean I'm used to wasting all your guys' time, so I figured
I want you to do this, this, and this. But you know what? I don't even watch what you're talking about anymore. So do whatever you want.
Yeah.
That's like
I
I
will say
want a
this.
T-bone steak
I
for
will
dinner,
say,
cooked medium well with a
I
potato on
like
the side. But I'm not
NXT.
even hungry.
I like NXT, and I really like that first Johnny Gargano promo, but I really didn't
No.
like this last one.
No.
I really didn't like the last one where like they would face the camera and then their face would go
Yeah.
gray and then start like shaking back and forth or whatever. It was like really weird.
It's like,
It
I'm
was a
going to look
little
over
bit too
here
much.
and I'm going to be normal. But then when I look over here, the sound's going to be all creepy. And then I'm going
Yeah.
to talk all because I'm a heel now. But now I'm a face and I'm not so bad. And I'm talking okay. But now I'm a heel again and I'm going to talk like a heel again. Like, come on, guys. You're better than that.
You don't need
persona,
to
okay.
be you
Better
don't
than
need to be creepy. Dexter Loomis is creepy enough for everybody.
I just wish they would take the cup
It's
off the
interesting.
table.
You know, we were talking no, listen. It's the prized cup. It's my favorite part of that promo. It's incredible. It's like if anything in that promo is working, it is that damn cup in the case.
I don't even pay attention to anything that's going on. My eyes go right to the cup. I'm like,
Damn straight.
There it is.
And ladies and gentlemen who don't know what we're talking about, it is not the type of cup that you drink water out of.
no.
No, you should not drink water out of that cup. No.
No.
The only thing I want to talk about real quick, before we start to shut this down, is me and Sarah. We and Chaz, we watch NXT all the time, and one of the fun things has been like every single week we do a little bit better at defining who Damian Priest is. And at first we defined him as like he's kind of like Roman Reigns has a meth problem. Like that's Damian Priest. But I think we did even better. We said Heath Ledger is playing Roman Reigns in a movie that also has a meth problem. Go look at Damian Priest, ladies and gentlemen.
Damn,
You'll thank me.
that's harsh.
I'm not harsh. Why? I mean, I don't know. It's his character. I don't actually think he has a meth problem.
When they pitched his character to him, think Heath Ledger playing Roman Reigns with a meth problem. I got it.
Got that.
Does Damian Priest not look like Heath Ledger? In a way, again.
I'll
Go
have
look
to go.
at
Yeah. Right now, here, no, I don't see it. But
You don't
it's
see it.
here
No.
right now. So
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Like-
you go watch the next time you watch NXT. And if you agree with me, then I expect on the next podcast that we're all here for you to be like, "Oh my God, Big Baby Jimmy, I watched this. There's a cat."
Maybe maybe you should start a poll and ask the rest of the wrestling community if they think he looks like Heath Ledger. with a
I'm
meth
not
problem.
gonna do that. That's like deep dive stuff on the podcast. If people want to hear those tidbits, they gotta listen. They gotta listen the whole time. It's kind of a cruel joke, I will admit, but at the same time, do I
During
care?
video production of this, I'm going to bring in a picture of Heath Ledger and then bring in a picture of Damian Priest, of like the Scooby Doo, and then the other one comes in. And we
What's
can
the
see
sound gonna
that.
be like?
I don't know if they're going to look anything like each other.
Maybe not.
Look forward
Maybe
to that.
not.
It's
But-
coming.
Have the Scooby Doo music behind it too.
I'm looking forward to all the up and coming wrestling shows. I look forward to NWA. Look forward
look
to Impact.
Heck yeah.
I look forward to having people in the crowd at a wrestling show.
That's not going to ever happen again. We can't be near each other anymore. What are you talking about?
Yeah, Christopher.
Just put monitors up in
We're
the
gonna
seats.
be
I'll watch like
home.
this. I can watch right like this,
For the rest
Give me
of
a
our
monitor.
lives.
right in the seat.
That won't be the same. You would just criticize that if you saw that. You'd be like, yeah, they tried that. That was dumb.
I want them to. I've been suggesting that for a while now. I want them to try it, and then I'll say it's dumb. But until you try it, it's not dumb.
You're not going to try it because it's too dumb already. Because it was a Christopher idea.
Because the Big Baby Jimmy idea is
Christopher!
golden.
I have no idea how long we've been recording because I'm not recording this podcast. So,
Oh, we're
You
done.
know.
You can start
Yeah.
wrapping it up, buddy.
are
Yeah.
we rapping? Are we
We're
rapping?
wrapping. You can wrap it up.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in on this very special episode where you got to see the beautiful face of Big Baby Jimmy.
Please edit
I
his face out of
believe
this.
this episode is episode 60.
60.
Something about a fart something.
Absence
Fart
makes
Honder?
the
Fart
fart
grow fonder.
Grow fonder.
The fart grow Honder, I
Honder.
believe.
grow hunder.
Yes.
Absence makes the.
He's
fart
he's gonna
grow
write it down
hunder.
right now.
Grow Honder.
So thank you for that. I do implore everybody listening to go and support your independent wrestlers out there, the people that are living day by day and struggling during the COVID 19
Finasco.
outbreak. Ugh.
Manser, Jay Walker. Go buy some t-shirts.
Past that, I would implore you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to follow us on many of the different things that we are on, be it Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, all that stuff. Yes, there you go. There you go. I'm sure it'll also be at the end as well.
It will.
Go get yourself a Bald Monkeys t-shirt.
Yes.
Do that.
Or hat. Or
Be a
Support
part
that.
of Monkey
cup,
Nation.
or phone
Monkey
case.
Nation. I
or
like that. Monkey Nation.
And when you have listened to one of those things and you've enjoyed them, tweet at us. And more importantly, when you tweet at us, I want you to do a hashtag for me. And I want that hashtag to either be hashtag double stuff or hashtag
yeah.
single stuff.
Oh, it's getting
Because-
serious now.
Oh,
we
man.
like to know what our followers like. I want to know whether you like the single stuff or the double stuff. And for me, personally, as a single stuffer, it's a win-win. Because if you guys all say double stuff, then I'll just complain that I'm the minority and everybody hates on the single stuffers. And I'll just be like, well, the positive is I'll have more single stuff Oreos for myself. And if you all vote for single stuff, then I'll just say, well, you guys, finally got some damn sense into your brains and, chose the right path.
Did we
Say it,
just
Chris.
change?
Say it,
Did we
Chris.
just change the name of this podcast?
Did we?
Is it now
I'm a
Big
single
Baby
stuffer.
Big Baby Jimmy is a single stuffer? Is that the new name?
Jimmy, it doesn't count when you throw 5 single stuffs in your mouth at one time.
Listen. Thank you for calling me fat. I am aware. I'm pear-shaped. I enjoy one single stuffed cookie at a time because the proportion of
One
cookie
sleeve?
and the proportion of cream are very important when it comes to eating an Oreo.
I'm still so upset with Chris Bay.
You don't need to be upset with Chris Bay.
Never gonna
Chris
hear the
Bay
end of this, Chris.
is
Never gonna hear the end
not
of this.
only the ultimate finesser, but he's also the ultimate Oreo cookie eater because he knows the right type of Oreo cookie to eat. I'm just saying.
I
Just
can't
because
wait.
that's
I
your
can't wait.
opinion doesn't mean it's the right way.
So
Tweet at
to
us.
workshop this back, because we
Tweet at
got
us.
off a little aside.
Oh gosh, let's stop
Tweet at
talking about
us.
Oreos.
Tweet at us about
Tweet,
Oreos.
tweet at us.
Tweet
Tweet
at us
at us
about
about Oreos.
wrestling.
Tweet
You
at
know
us
what?
all day.
Do that. Ask us wrestling questions throughout the day. Guess
Yeah.
what? We'll answer you. And
We
we'll
will.
have a fun time doing it. And
Yep.
when Christopher, for instance, is wrong about a wrestling opinion, I will reply to his reply and say,
He will.
nope, you're damn wrong. It's
He will.
actually this.
He slides into my comments all the time. I don't want him to talk with me. I don't want to talk to him.
I don't want
I
to talk to him.
on
I don't want to talk to
He's
him.
single stuffing
but
into
I don't
your
want to talk to
comments.
him, but I'm kind of like the shield of this group, and I need justice. Justice must be served. So when he says something wrong, I must come in and correct him.
You're the shield.
He's the
You
shackle
just
of this group.
compared yourself to the shield.
Yeah.
You had
The
the
shield was cool.
right, but it ended in itter.
Wow. Well, thank you for watching
He's just
episode
feeding it
6.
to you still.
Thank you
A
for
warm
watching
bowl of
episode
shit.
60. Question mark. I don't know what it's going to be called because he's
Oh
gonna
no!
end up being the one
Absence
who-
makes
Baby
the
Jimmy.
fart go Honder.
Yes.
Big baby Jimmy. I'm a single stuffer.
Everybody finish your tequila and have a good night. Thank you, everybody.